Hello, we're live. I think we're live. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing a few buttons, so I might lose focus. So what am I going to be talking about today? Tech frustrations and IT frustrations. Now, the problem with IT is, sorry, something's happening on my screen. The problem with IT, I find, is that people don't quite understand how difficult it is to try to figure out a solution for the masses, for more than one person at the same time. Each individual have their own way of working, their own systems in place, and their own, basically way of working, mainly because they've done the same work for such a long time. They've got a process in place. So when someone comes to me and says, can you help me with this? The first thing I have to do is, well, I need to see what you're actually doing. Now, last week I had a client who is working as a contractor, he's working as a freelancer, but he's actually about to start his own business, his own practice. And he came to the office, we spoke for a short while, then he showed me his system, and it was a complete mess. He knew it was a mess, so I don't think he minds me talking about it. The problem with the way he was working is that, like I find with thousands of people that I work with, people get a computer, they work, they don't have a system in place, but the system kind of works into place as they're working. So there's never a thought process of, okay, I'm going to start a business. You go to the bank to get the money, or if you need to, you go to your business coach to figure out what you need to do and stuff. But no one's really thinking about tech and IT. And that kind of baffles me. Obviously, it's my business. It's like, having a car and going to the garage and the guy saying, well, why don't you change your oil every 3 months? Which is what you're supposed to do, but we don't do it. So the fact that I've seen so many people in this, with this problem, basically, so I have to basically go and find the right solution. So anyway, back to the story. So he works with text files mainly and spreadsheets and so on. And he doesn't have like a workspace or a to-do list or anything like that. Everything was in email, and that's a topic on its own. But he had files with folders within folders within folders within folders. No real hierarchy. So it was called untitled folder 1, 2, 3, 4. Untitled folder, and it was a complete mess. Now, we've all been there, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I've been a saint since I've had my Mac and so on. We've all definitely been there. But there are ways of doing things and there are ways of doing things. And you need to get organized. The other main thing is that, we put so much stock in our computers, but we don't really take care of them as we should. I had the same conversation with the same client. So actually with a different client also, which was worse. So just before the weekend, his computer died. He needed to work, but I needed the computer for a day or so to actually fix it. But he's like, well, I can't, I need to. So I worked over the weekend and got it back to him luckily on Monday. But again, we put so much stock into our computers that we don't think about what if. It's basically an insurance policy, right? What if? We hate paying insurance. We really hate it. I hate it. But we kind of need to have some sort of a plan in place just in case something happens to our IT. So that's why I'm kind of advocating going over to the clouds, because luckily this other client had everything in the cloud. So he was able to use his wife's computer. It was the weekend, so she wasn't working. He could log in and everything was there. Now, we set that up, I think, 6 months ago, something like that. So he was really, really pleased, and it's pretty simple to do. But going back to the folders and folders and folders, I mean, people don't have systems in place. They have chaos in place. And I see it. You know, I've worked with, thousands of people repairing and fixing and consulting and everything to do with Macs. So I see people's computers and how they are being used. And obviously, if I'm working on a project, I don't think about different things. I will probably mention it to the client, but I see folders all over the place. I see files all over the place. I ask basic questions like, so if a client came to you and said, I want this, do you have it in a specific place? Do you have a client folder, for instance? Generally, 9 times out of 10, the answer is no, I don't. You know, so how do you look for something? Oh, I do the search on the computer, which they're talking about Spotlight, and then I find it. Okay, great. But if you have thousands and thousands upon thousands of files, it's going to take such a long time for Spotlight to index everything, especially if you get a new computer. So it would be virtually impossible for you to find anything if we move all your data to another computer because your computer is broken. So the idea of not having, it's funny for me to say not having a proper system, but not having a proper system in place. I mean, you may well have a system in place and it's your system, and I'm sure it works for you, but you've got to think about what if. And a lot of people don't think about that. And it's something that you kind of need to look into. So I've been using many different, I hate the word project management tools. As soon as you say project management, people kind of glaze over and go, oh, I don't need it, it's complicated, Gantt charts. And no, I'm the same. I hate that stuff. I try to do things as simply as possible. So if you go back, look at my video library, you see how I work with my projects and my clients. And it's insanely simple. So it doesn't have to be convoluted and insane. People hate change, right? Look at my hair. I shaved my head. It's really weird. I shaved my head because I just wanted to start all over again. And, you know, it took me a few hours to get used to it, and I hated it. And I was like, well, I've done it before. My hair grows back really quickly. Luckily, I'm not yet going bald. But people hate change. But we have to deal with it. And once you adapt to a new system, that will make your life so much easier. After a short period of time, you go, oh, I wish I did this before. So I'm actually going through change with my hair. Wolf didn't recognize me. But I'm also going through change with my system, and I'm going to be going through that through the next videos and talking about that as well. So I don't like project management systems. They're too convoluted for some people. I mean, I work with freelancers, businesses, and professionals, and there is differences. Like some businesses need a project management tool. So obviously I help them and consult and install Asana and things like that. But they don't always work for everybody. Asana will not work for me. I've tried it. It's way too complicated for what I need, and too complicated for a lot of people who are just, you know, small teams. What we need is a workspace. We need a desk where we have a filing system, where we have all the client information, all the internal communication, all the client communication, everything in one place. And I'm going through a couple of systems for myself. And I've used these systems before, and I moved away from them because I thought it was too complicated, but I realized I think I might need to step up my game in the what if scenario. So I'm kind of looking into a different system for myself. But right now I'm using Todoist. It's not a project management tool per se. It's not a filing system per se, but I'm using it for my prospects. I'm using it for my projects. I'm using it for my personal things. I'm using it for pretty much everything. I'm even using it as like a, what's it called? A web clipper, effectively. So if I find something on the net, I put it in my Todoist, which is basically a to-do list. But I figured out a system that I'm able to work with. And this is the thing, a lot of people need, you know, they've created systems that they can work with, but they don't think about what if, and I'm starting to think about what if. And then again, Todoist is great. I love the company culture. I love the way it's built. I love the way it looks, the fact that it works on everything on my phone. It syncs amazingly. Touch wood, it has never died on me. So yes, it's great. Why am I moving? That's a topic for another video. But so yeah, this is a quick video because I've actually got to go to my dentist. I'm not going to stay too long. I don't know how long it's been. But think about what if. Think about how you're working. What's your workflow from, you know, if you're working with clients, if you're a consultant, most of my clients are consultants actually, and trainers and speakers and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, think of your client process, think of your work process. So from the time that you get the email or the contact from the client to when you send an email, an invoice to the client, what does that process look like? What I usually tell people is work backwards. So you've got the invoice and you do the work and so on and so forth, and you've got the email. If you work backwards, you kind of think more logically as to the steps that you actually need to do. Whereas if you work forward, sometimes I find you go through it too quickly and you miss some steps. So you could do that, but I would suggest working backwards as well. And think about the journey the client has, from the moment of first contact to the moment of invoice, and work out the system and figure out the holes in your system and figure out what things, apps, services that you could use to gap those systems and make the experience, not just for the client, but for yourself, much easier and simpler. I automate so many things. I don't over-automate, but I automate so many things that things just get done. That's what computers are for, right? Computers are there to help you, not to annoy you. So when a client books an appointment with me via my calendar, via my website, it goes straight into my sales process. And I contact them. It sends me a notification saying, oh, there's somebody there. And I contact them and then deal with it and go on from there. So think of a process, think of your process, and think about how you can plug the gaps, what things are annoying you. The one thing that you need is a workspace, is a desk. Whether you work remotely or whatever, you need a desk, a digital desk. So you can work on a beach with margaritas, not a problem. However, your desk has to come with you, which is your laptop, and you need to be able to work and have all your data, all your client information, everything at hand. So if someone asks you, can I have, or do you know, you can go to one place and go, there it is. Not search, oh my God, it's not there, let's go and search somewhere else, let's go. I mean, that's a headache. Because that happened to me a long time ago. It did happen to me. And it was annoying, like, oh, where did I buy this part from? Or did I do this with the client? And so on and so forth. So you need processes, and they can merge in together, but having hard borders, but again, that's another that's a topic for another video. Anyway, that's it. I need to go to the dentist. Sorry to make it short today. I may do another video later on this week, going through different apps and different services. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments or send me an email. In fact, this is my website. There you go. I like this thing. This is great. So obviously, if you have any questions, ask me, send me a message through my website. And then I can, we can go through the steps and help you that way. You can also just simply book a call with me, and hopefully we can go through it, and hopefully we can get your digital desk and your IT frustrations out the window so you can actually concentrate on working and not fight with the tools that are supposed to be helping you. Anyway, enjoy the day. Remember, keep it simple. Talk to you soon. Ciao.